So, with this deck idea, Can't Stay Dead, we actually are taking advantage of not only Can't Stay Away, and the Extraction Specialist, which we already know are strong combinations of cards for bringing back cards from the graveyard, but we are going to be using the new Sarah Paragon. This is a 3/4 flyer that once during each of your turn, you may play a land from your graveyard or cast a permanent spell with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. If you do, it will gain when this permanent is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile it, you gain 2 life. This means that you'd still actually get the death triggers of the card because it has to go to the graveyard first and then exile itself. But the other thing to make note of is that if we end up using something like Touch of the Spirit Realm, we discard this card to channel target our creature to prevent it from dying, or just to reset the ETB on the card, then we'll be able to actually make it lose this death trigger effect and treat it as if it never had it. So this works really well. So we say are in the later part of the game, we end up having the Paragon on the board, we play a Specialist from our graveyard. Specialist allows us to revive any of our 2 costs from our graveyard. Then we could potentially discard the Spirit Realm, flicker the Specialist, be able to get it to come back to the board, revive another 2-drop, and then if the Specialist were to die again, we could still potentially replay it back from the graveyard. The other thing to make note of is Touch of Spirit Realm is a 3-cost permanent, so its channel ability to help reset and protect our cards is particularly useful because then we can always play it back out as an enchantment to seal up our opponent's creatures or artifacts by playing from the graveyard with the Paragon. So we're getting lots of extra value from playing this Paragon, and to the point that I think that we probably want to up this to like maybe 3 or even 4 copies with this deck design, but we're going to stick with 2 for right now. The other thing to make note of is with the Paragon's ability to bring back lands, it does actually really help with things like the Storefront, or any of these lands that enter the battlefield, you sacrifice them and go get yourself another land. Because not only do you get the 1 point of life from the Storefront itself, but when this triggers to go search for another land, it'll exile itself, get ourselves more land to the board, and give us an extra 2 life thanks to the Paragon's removal trigger. So I think this is just going to be lots of value and interesting things. To take advantage of our value, we went with Hopeful Initiate as a great 1-drop. We have some Cathar Commandos in the deck because it allows us to be able to sacrifice it to destroy any artifact or enchantment. Gives a little spot removal action since a lot of people are testing out artifacts and enchantments in this new set. But not only that, it's still a great 2-drop 3/1. We are using some Spirit Companions just to get that draw value for the deck, because we also have some sacrifice purposes with Rite of Oblivion. We have some Thalias to tax all the non-creature spells. Since we don't run too many of them, it doesn't really hurt us, and it's always great to be able to make our opponents pay more for their spells. We run some Voldaren Bloodcasters, because we are looking at the fact that a lot of our creatures will just end up coming to the board, dying, being brought back, and potentially dying again. And all these blood tokens can help us dig into more action, but if we get enough blood tokens, they'll still transform into 3/3, and we can turn those blood tokens into 2/2 bats. So, all in all, I think it's a really solid card for the deck. A couple copies Can't Stay Away just to be strong synergy with the Specialist and most of our just deck in general. Rites of Oblivion, not as powerful with most decks nowadays since we don't have as much treasure production anymore. But with our deck, since we do have the ability to generate blood tokens and just revive our cards consistently, it works out probably very well for us. We have some Welcoming Vampires to give us a little more card draw. Wedding Announcement, because it serves all sorts of useful functions for our deck, giving us tokens for Rites of Oblivion sacrifice, the ability to give our creatures all +1/+1, and the potential of just some extra card draw as well. So we are just like a aggressive value deck, and we'll see how well this will work. On the open, seems decent enough to keep. While we are looking at a little trouble of not having the guaranteed 3rd mana source, Companion should help us draw into it. think I'm going to lead with Bloodcaster. Just go for the more aggressive play. Most likely still just eat removal since I see our opponent is on black here. Bank busting, so they're going for some draw value. Alright, please give us a land deck. That is unfortunate. I mean, luckily, most of our cards are cheap in the deck, so we don't need too many lands. I am running 24, with 4 of them being lands that sacrifice to go get lands out of the deck. So we shouldn't have too many problems getting our third mana source. We get the third mana source, I'm just going to go for the announcement, but still not the case. Please deck land. Opponent's going to use cut down. That's okay. There we go, we got that land. Now, we are unfortunately running ourselves into a easy meat hook here for our opponent, but since they used cut down, I don't think they had the meat hook. But then again, they could have also just been using cut down to deny us the extra blood triggers from death of cards. Ball sleeper for our opponent. Let's go for the announcement right now. Go for the swing. I kind of want to save the specialist play. After one more mana, so that way we potentially pitch. Oh, there's one more mana. Unfortunately, this is tap land. Alright, we're going to use one of these, get that off the board. Because that makes us lose 2 life whenever we draw, and whenever they draw, they gain 2. Really strong card. I think this is actually one of the strongest of the cards that you can ask for from this set. Alright, our turn. We hit another storefront. We'll touch the Spirit Realm, remove this, use this, and we'll get ourselves another white source. Since we're primarily a white deck with black splashed in for the support spells. I forgot that I had priority because of the blood, so I was just kind of waiting for our opponent to finish. Alright, so there is that meat hook that I was worried about. And one of the reasons why I wanted not to just throw this out earlier. Specialist to the board. We'll revive the Bloodcaster. Play this, get ourselves another land out of the deck. Make it a black source this time. And pass it back. This way, if the opponent does have like another meat hook, we can flicker the specialist. Alright, another Goldred for our opponent. Fortunately, this might be a case where we're going to have to just play Touch the Spirit Realm just to get rid of that. No blocks. Put this to the board. Yep, we lose another 2 life. Play this. Get rid of that. Attack in. Put down Thalia because opponents only has enough mana to do Meat Hook 2. So if they have another Meat Hook, this makes it that way they can only do Meat Hook 1. Hey there, Izzy. Hope you're doing well. Glad you're joining us today. We have our opponent down to 4, so unless you have some kind of sweep, I think we're good to win this one. Oh, that's good to hear there. Yeah, that's unfortunately not enough for our opponent. Them just being stuck on their lands has led to their defeat. We get the Paragon, so we just send them all. Opponent can only block 2 creatures, and 2 creatures getting through is always going to be 4 damage, at the very least. We'll have to take a look at what you've been doing so well within the format. One of the things I could have done, actually, to make it so that way we could have probably pushed more damage, was sacrifice this to prevent that from blocking, but wasn't necessary. Alright, first win. Alright. See here. On the open, I think we have a pretty capable hand. Got 3 mana, 2 mana for Cathar, we got the Specialist, so I think it's a keep. Right, we'll play this, get ourselves a white source. Would play... I wouldn't have a playset out of wild cards. Ah. Wait, which one would you have done the playset of? Because on your Cavalcade deck, I wasn't sure if you're saying you're going to go more Bombardments or more Paragoblins here, but either case, all the cards are really solid in it. Oh, the instant. Well, the instant's only a common now, so it shouldn't be that hard to get some more wild cards for those. Alright, buddy. We'll just land pass here. I'm going to flash in the Cathar Commando against our opponent. Alright, Cathar Commando. Bring in Bloodcaster, and we'll just sacrifice the Commando, get rid of their announcement. Opponent's got Liliana, that's not too much of an issue for us.
Off you go.
Bring out the Specialist. And bring back Bloodcaster. The instant... No, there's a new version of the Lightning Strike printed for the new set. It's in common form. For Lightning Strike. If you're talking about UC or Paragoblins, you're right. That one is uncommon. We'll discard a Touch of Spirit Realm here. Go for the land. We will attack Lily. I'm going to use Infernal Grasp. That's okay. Bring down Announcement. Now, I could have discarded Spirit Realm to protect Specialist, but there was no real value to get back too much. I guess we could have gotten back the Commando. But I like the idea of being able to use Can't Stay Away, bring it back. They can't use the -2 and punish us, so they're going to have to use the +1.
Don't overthink things.
Give up. Spirit Realm. Alright, we'll go for the Can't Stay Away on the Specialist. Brings this back. attack here.
You're gonna need a good undertaker.
Well, that's annoying. The Trespasser allows them to eat our graveyard. We're gonna give up the Welcoming Vampire here, because I don't really want to have to deal with Edgar. Oh, they don't plus. In that case, we can just use Spirit Realm to get rid of Edgar,
Fine.
but...
I'll take my zombies and leave.
Oh, you're thinking about the uncommon Tibalt. Okay. Well, there we go. We have outgrinded the opponent already. So, yeah, that's one of those problems once we play Liliana. You have to discard yourself. And in order for them to keep that, to keep pressure on us, they were hurting themselves. And I think we just ended up getting better value out of the match because of that. Alright, on the open, this seems like a great hand. We're missing the black sources for any of our black support spells, but this is a really good 1-2-3 curve. I mean, if you were to choose to play in a best of 3, then I guess it would make sense to include the Tibalts to give you more answers against life gain. But that's only a an if situation there. Alright, opponent's on Esper from how it looks. There's Rafine. We missed a land drop. Initiate to the board. Ooh, there's a land. Apparently I have 4 copies of UC Paragon. I mean, UC Paragon is a good card for your deck. I don't know if you necessarily need to run 4 of them. But if you were to run them, probably trim like the Perforators for copies. Because like I mentioned before, it doesn't fully synergize with your Cavalcade. Okay. So, the opponent's running the Sadistic Pilgrim. It's a new card. Creatures enter their battlefield, they gain life. Creatures leave their battlefield, we lose life. And this is a card that doesn't see much play. So, denies the ability to target cards in graveyards. Yeah, cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. And then you can play them back out of the graveyard. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into a graveyard from anywhere, you get to investigate. They can only trigger it once each turn. Yadar. Alright. I mean, it's an interesting deck that our opponent's playing here. See, if we send the whole team, the only thing they'll lose is potentially Thalia, I think. I could use Touch of Spirit Realm, get rid of this. And then we'll only lose like one of the 1-drops. I was thinking about for a moment that might be okay just to let the Thalia go, because we can just extract the specialist back, and then we'll get a card draw. But I think this just works out a lot better for us. So you said you'll take out the Goblin Gathering and just add 2 copies of something that is 1 or 2 mana? Oh, I get what you're saying to do. You're gonna switch 2 Goblin Gatherings to UC Pair Goblins and then just add some other 1 or 2 cost card. That's also an option. Goblin Gathering is one of those cards. It's not... It's only good if you draw multiples. Otherwise, it's kind of mediocre. Double Thalia on board, providing so much tax. Let's swing. The Thalia's trade. We'll attempt a wedding announcement. And we'll put a new Thalia back to the board. Representing lethal to the board state here. What does the opponent have? If they have a meat hook, they actually could meat hook us through the Thalia. Let's go ahead and go for the attacks. See what the opponent has. Possibly a Wandering Emperor here. Oh, it's an Earth. Okay. That's okay, because whenever they destroy, we get a card draw on. Okay, so... Can't stay away. Welcoming Vampire. Distraction Specialist. And we'll grab the Thalia just to tax the opponent some more. Kind of crazy how much draw value we have actually in our deck. Album Gathering is cool, but it makes more creatures per mana than like other token spells. There actually is some 2-cost token spells that generate 2 tokens. I don't remember if they are in Arena though. But if there's also a 3-cost one that generates three tokens. But I'm fairly certain Hordling Outburst wasn't put into Arena for our purposes yet. I should have blocked this. I don't know why I looked that through. Land to board. Deck in a land. Before we attack, we'll go for the Spirited Companion. Because this gives us 2-card draw. Unfortunately, we don't get the removal spell. Send the team. If they kill the specialist, it's fine, because then we can attack with this Thalia. Unfortunately, we permanently lose that now. So, can't stay away. Specialist. Grab Initiate. The opponent's just barely staying in this. With this on the +1/+1 now, we actually can trade with the Adeline. And blocking the token with the Lifelinker is just going to be value for us. You only get to keep one of the 3 cards there. And just to make sure the token dies, we add the 2/2 to the block. Because they have like a discard Iganjo to kill it. We want to make sure we get the value. Alright, let's go for this to the board so that we can get blood tokens. Go for the companion. Alright, that gives us a lot of replay value. We swing. Alright, does the opponent have... No, they don't. So they go down to 2. Pass it to the opponent so that we can use the Cathar Commando during our opponent's turn. And possibly use the blood just to discard the land for a redraw. A Hordling Outburst is on Arena. Okay. Oh, no, yeah, that's what I said. Hordling Outburst is great for the mana if you can, I'm sorry, the Goblin Gathering is great for the mana if you can get the copies. The problem is you have to get all the copies. Alright, opponent's using Vrabic, which means that if we kill any of their legendaries, they get a 2/2 legendary token. Do we have anything in our graveyard right now? Alright, opponent just skips it up. I'm just double checking to see if we had anything to replay from our graveyard before we went for the attack. Because they still had 2 mana. I wasn't sure if they had some kind of answer spell to our attack here. Because we are attacking wide enough that we should get 2 attackers through, but let's just try to play it safe. I think we have a sketchy keep in a way, but I think it's good enough that we can take it. We can use this, get ourselves a black source. Turn 2, play Bloodcaster. So much black being played right now. I'll use Play with Fire for a similar effect. Yeah, I mean, Play with Fire has the similar idea to it. I'm actually going to go for Thalia over the Bloodcaster idea. Just to keep the opponent from casting maybe like a 2-cost removal spell they had in hand. Let's go for the attack. Alright, it goes through. Let's go for the Bloodcaster and Initiate. What just passes? Queen? Put this to the board. No value, but just get the pressure. Opponent got stuck on lands, that's why I was going to risk it, because with Thalia on the board, if they had a Meathook Massacre, they can't X to it. And that means that we can still attack and get 6 damage through. Red, white, black, so Mardu for our opponent. What is their play? Their play is to make us wait. They were currently looking at 6, 8, 10. Not lethal here. But we might just be getting a... Okay, so they are still there. Ghost Spirit Companion, trying to find a land. Okay, we get a land. Now, if they do have the Massacre, they actually can do... Oh, interesting. Okay, so Archangel Wrath, they're going to kick it for 1. So that's going to deal 2 damage to a target, and also give them back 2 life. They don't like the Thalia attacks. But we'll bring the Thalia attacks back. We'll actually sacrifice the Companion here. I know it gives us some damage on the board. But I feel like the blood might pay off. Alright, what's the opponent have? At this point, if they have Massacre, they can actually sweep the whole board down. They can actually do an X3. Right, Announcement costing them 4 mana. And a Blood-type Harvester. Well, that's GG. Because we just right of Oblivion, get this off the board. They can only block one creature, so 4 damage gets through. But yeah, it looks like they had a lot of non-creature spells they were relying on. So the Thali attacks did them in.
Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more content. If you'd like to join me while I stream, you can find me on Twitch, the link below. I hope to see you again in the next video and have a nice one.